Hey friends, it's Victor Costa, Peace, Love, and Muscles. Hope you're doing well. I'm about to get a client of mine on the phone. I thought it would be really fun to have an interview with him because he is a professional wrestler in the premier professional wrestling world. He's an amazing guy. He's at the top of his game. He is on the rise to stardom. He's an incredible athlete, friend of mine, client of mine, and I wanted to just do a quick interview with him, and we can learn a little bit more about my friend and client, Matt Vine. So let me get Matt on the phone, and it's not entirely a surprise. I told him I'd be calling him a little bit later to interview him. So let's learn a little bit more about the up-and-coming wrestler, hopefully one day to be on TV screens and in arenas everywhere, Matt Vine. Hang on a sec. Let's get him on the line.
Hello?
Matt,
That's me.
how are you, buddy? It's Victor Costa. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good. You could tell I have my interview voice on.
Yes, I can. Yes, I can. So I respond accordingly.
So I just did a little preface about who you are, just a little bit, but we're going to get into who you are, why I'm calling you today, and why I'm interviewing you today, and just to get a better sense of who Matt Vine is as a person, as an athlete, as a guy who holds down a regular job while pursuing his dream, which is what I try to encourage everybody to do, and just to get to know you better. So, dude, thanks so much for taking the time. I really appreciate it.
Oh, of course. My pleasure. My pleasure.
So just tell me, so you're a professional wrestler, and the league is called what that you're in presently?
The main promotion I work for is called Premier Pro Wrestling. It's run the show in front of a live audience every Saturday in a town called Woodstock. That's in Illinois.
Mm-hmm. So in Woodstock, Illinois, at 7:30, 8 o'clock on any given Saturday, people can actually come and see you wrestle.
Yes, that is correct. 7:30 is the bell time. 7 o'clock, the doors open for the public to come on in.
Now, just to, I don't know a lot of this information, even though you and I have known each other for a long time. I don't know this. I know other people are going to find this interesting and fun. How long in advance do you know the matching of who you're going to be wrestling?
Oh, well, see, that's one thing that the company I work for takes great pride in, is that sometimes I don't know who I'm wrestling until the day of. We used to get our guys really good. We used to do this thing called random fandom. And what we do is we throw names in a hat completely and just have the audience members pick the name, and that would be the match. So we would have no idea
Really?
who we'd be facing. Not a clue. Yeah, not a clue who we'd be facing until literally 20 seconds beforehand.
Wow.
And yeah, it was.
So that's an amazing revelation because, obviously that would be an authentic matchup. I mean, everything that you're doing then would be based upon just spontaneous action and reaction rather than having anything choreographed or organized.
Yes, more so. I mean, now as it's progressed, now there's a lot more storylines and what have you. So I know for the most part who I'm fighting the next week and possibly a week after. But for the most part, with the random fandom, you had no clue unless you were the last two to go.
Really? Wow. You know what's funny? When you say the word storylines, there's still a part of me that is a kid that doesn't know that. Do you know what I'm saying? Like so in my household, just so you know, I have a wife and a 15-year-old daughter. We watch even though I pretend to be highbrow, we watch every reality television show there is, right? So right, so even though I'll deny that, No, not really. But we enjoy all of that stuff. So we watch the Bellas, right? And the Bellas tell us about storylines, right? That there's a storyline and this and that. There's a part of me that kind of just learned that there's a storyline. In other words, I thought that so much of this is so. It's almost like the rivalries are all real. It's all authentic. The athletes are doing their thing. So when I hear storylines, I'm still kind of confused because everything seems like it's really organic and not coming from a story, but really actions and reactions in reality to different athletes. So when did you, let's go back real quick. When did you start wrestling? How old were you? Were you always a fan of wrestling? Who were your idols? That kind of thing.
Actually, I told you this once before when I finally decided to reach out to you because I guess little known secret between the people I talk to and people that probably listen to this as well is that I saw your first few videos that you did post to YouTube, but back when, and that was over a decade ago, maybe 9 years ago that you posted. I don't know, but it was right around a decade. And I said, that guy knows what he's talking about.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you.
That's because I remember what it was. It was you in the middle of an empty gym, shirtless, just doing a bicep curl with, I believe it was maybe 20 or 30 pounds. And you were just saying to yourself, like, this isn't a lot of weight, but all I'm trying to do is just exhaust my bicep. And I said, huh. And this was back in the time where ego lifting was a big thing, but to exhaust it and get in the most you can on a muscle was something truly relevating for my time coming up. So back then, I was training in high school for baseball. And I didn't really make the cut at that point at around 19. It was when I called it quits for baseball. So I decided to finally go with wrestling. It was right around the time that I was going into community college, and I graduated from community college, and I got into Roosevelt University, great university. But I never really went to Roosevelt University. I signed up, got accepted, went to check out classes, but when it came time to sign the check, I used the money for wrestling school instead the next day.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable story. You know what? I don't know if I knew that or not, but it's actually richer this time around.
I told you a couple of years ago.
So you were a baseball. I didn't know you were a baseball player. So you were a baseball player. You were sort of on the cusp of potentially going for that, making it, and then you felt like maybe it wasn't panning out, and then you went to community college, graduated from there, went to pursue another degree after that, and used the money to go to wrestling school. Now, at the time, did you tell your parents about this? How did you do that?
Oh, no. You see, with baseball, I mean, we were really into it. My dad had a pitching machine inside a batting cage that he bought for our backyard.
Wow.
With a 32 baseball feeder and an L screen for protection of the machine. He bought us a pitching mound, and it was almost like our own station of a training facility in our backyard for baseball. So when I finally let it go, it was right when a little bit after, maybe a year or so after I graduated high school. And then I focused on finishing up getting my associate's degree. But when I got into Roosevelt, he thought I was going for a minute, but then I told him I'm not going to go to school this year. I'm just going to save up some money and I'll see what I do. But then I went and I used the money for wrestling, and when he found out, kind of didn't like it, but
now did he know that you were did he have a sense that you were going to try that? Or did you even know you were going to try that? Because you guys were so focused on baseball. The transition, how did the transition happen? Did you always love it and he kind of knew that? Or did you just out of the blue say, hey, Dad, I signed up for wrestling school with the money that was supposed to be for college? You know what I mean?
Well,
How did that go? How did he know about it?
He kind of would make fun of me about baseball or about wrestling.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And throw a little spin, his own little spin on it, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I get it.
Guy, you know what I mean? It was his own little spiff of how he perceived a wrestler.
Right.
So,
that's funny. My father was the one who introduced us to professional wrestling, and then when we started to watch it, he turned it on at midnight. I think when I was a kid, it used to be on at like midnight because I guess they didn't have a tremendous audience. And he puts it on, and there's Andre the Giant, there's Superfly Snuka, there's Tony Atlas, and all these guys, and it's exciting and it's amazing. And then when we were watching, he's like, "Why you guys watching that?" I'm like, "You showed it to us how entertaining this is, and that we're bit." So anyway, your dad used to tease you a little bit about it and everything. So tell me what's that like? What's wrestling school like?
It's honest to God, I probably would have taken the getting made fun of by my dad like 10 times over than having to go through wrestling school and the paying your dues. Again, I mean, yes, it was all for a cause, but there's so much that you gotta be constantly walking on eggshells and showing humility and the capability of being humble.
Right.
But at the same time, it does teach you really great life lessons. For example, I mean, it is so easy to get lost in yourself today, and thinking that you're better than what you are. In that sense, there's nothing wrong with being proud of what you accomplished. Years of training showing a difference in a body style or a body transformation per se. There's nothing wrong with being proud of that, but to say, to go around saying, "Well, this guy, I look better than this guy because look how much I've come up in the past year," and
right.
This guy, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I do. It humbles you because it's a test. It's a bit of a test against yourself. Everybody thinks they're amazing in a vacuum, and then they go to test themselves and they see what happens, right? Because there's always somebody who's bigger, stronger, better. But so it taught you. So the wrestling school taught you a lot of discipline, a lot of life lessons. Is there a lot of acrobatics involved? Because I see amazing feats, and I'm going to show some pictures of some of the things that you can do. Were you an acrobat? Did you have that in you? The ability to
No.
Were you the kid who could jump off of like a diving board and do a flip into the swimming pool kind of thing?
No. I'd piss my pants before that would happen.
So you learned everything you did. You learned really from.
No, not even. I'm not. Yes, everything that I did that I can do in the ring, I learned in the ring. But if you ask me to kip up, I'll fall on my butt.
Right.
I'm not an acrobat. There's different styles of wrestlers. There's guys that are 175 pounds that can do corkscrew spins from the top rope. I can't do that.
Right.
I'm 6 foot. I'm 230 pounds, and in boots, I'm 6'1", 6'2", 230 pounds. So I just don't justify myself doing high flying spinning things. Well, plus it's a lot harder and more strenuous on my body, and I'm all about longevity.
Right.
So there's something about a classic wrestling style with a modern day twist.
Yeah.
That to me shows promise and shows something that no one's doing, because everybody's doing acrobatic stuff in the ring now.
Right, sure.
And if they wanted to, if you, I always say, if I wanted to go see gymnastics, I'd go see, a a gymnastics show at a gym,
right,
or I'd go watch the Olympics. I came here to perform an art, a craft called wrestling.
I love that.
Because it is. There's an art. There's an art to it. There's a story to be told. Every match is telling a story, whether you can see it or not.
Yeah.
So that's what my view on wrestling is.
I love that. I love that.
I don't do any flashing moves, you know.
So you know what name has just come into mind, and I haven't watched. I mean, I haven't said this name or thought about this name. Bob Backlund from the old days.
Oh man, yeah.
Right. There were guys who were wrestlers, you know, who were more like collegiate style, who perfected this art and craft of wrestling, rather than some guys who were doing a lot of that, you know, the gymnastic things. But I respect what you're trying to accomplish, and I really am. You know, I'm obviously, a fan of yours because we know each other and because we're friends, but because I want to. I'm for anybody who's pursuing a dream. And this is not like the kind of thing where you just automatically wake up one day and say, I want to be a wrestler, and automatically you're on TV. This is the kind of thing where you have to grind it out, pay your dues, get notoriety, and work your way up. It's like a corporation in a way, right? So
yeah.
So
see, there's a lot of guys. I get what you're trying to say. Yeah, because and this goes back to that humility and being humble. There's a lot of people. Like, I mean, we can face it. There's a lot of guys that can fit my bill. You know, 6 foot 230, and wrestle a normal catch style wrestling. But you know, there might not be a market. They don't have the big time. WWE might not have a certain style of a specific guy that, in certain opinions or in many opinions, might not be as good as me per se.
Yep.
But they're there, you know, and I could get angry at that. But it's just, you know, it's when your time is when your time is.
Right.
You know,
right.
You'll know when other people tell you how good you are. And then you'll start to see things unfold. I've been doing this for coming up 7 years in May. It's not something that just, like you said, happens overnight. No, this is something that has been developed year after year after year, and sometimes it can be really strenuous because you can see yourself getting better, but you don't see the results coming as quickly.
I see.
You know?
Yeah. So you've got it. So there's an element, just like in any other thing, there's an element of believing in yourself, an element of faith, and an element of, I'm not giving up on this thing because this is what I want to do. And that's really the reason we're talking. It's because now, by the way, you have a regular, you know, I mean, I see you, and I'll show some pictures of you looking super, you know, spiffy in a suit and tie. You have a regular job, so you pursue your dreams in it, you know, after, you know, while your bills are being paid, basically, and. Right. So that's kind of what I want to highlight too, because there's a lot of people who think that they can't, you know, they have the wife, they have the kids, they have the baby, they have the job, that they have to put their dreams on hold. And you are a shining example of somebody who's able to kind of do both things. And it's, you know, you're not living 9 to 5 and then coming home and putting your feet up. So how often do you work out, aside from your physical bodybuilding and keeping yourself looking the way you do? What's the wrestling workouts like, and how long do those take?
All right. Okay. So we're going to dig right into the good stuff now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is the good stuff. Okay. So, and I'm going to say this to everybody that'll listen. This, guys, where you say, you know, you can't make, there's not enough time in the day, you can't make an hour in the day. Guys, I can't make 45 minutes in a day to get a decent workout in, do everything that I have to do. Sometimes I'm up at 4 in the morning, sometimes I'm up at 5, depending on how my day is going to go. And I get to work, I'm sitting at work, and then every chance I get during work, I'll study a wrestling match. Yeah, believe it or not, while doing what I have to do for work. Then when I finally clock out, it's either just before 4 or it's 4:30. When I get out, I run to my car, run gym or fly to the gym, whatever you want to call it. I try and get as best of a workout as I can there.
Yep.
And then by the time I get out, which is as much, it depends on what I'm able to get done for the day. By the time I'm out of that gym, I'm heading off to the grocery store to get food. And the one thing that I've noticed with the way I've trained and what I need for my meal preparation is I found a grocery store chain called Mariano's. I don't know if it's out in New York, but if there is one out there, I'd highly recommend.
Yep.
Otherwise, I'd find one that would have do these. But when I go to Mariano's now, because they have when you at the grocery, at the butcher's market, they will cook your food there for you.
Really?
While you continue to shop. Yes, and that cuts down a lot of my time, because I can't tell you how much preparation time takes to cook food, make meals. But when they cook your meats, your vegetable, whatever it is for you, when they cook your food for you, it cuts down so much time.
Yeah.
And so that's one thing that being as busy as I am has taught me, is I've found ways around the hardships and the struggles of getting everything done. Like, for example, if that was somebody who, didn't have that option, now they have to spend an hour or two preparing food for the week. I have found something that has minimalized my preparation time, and I've also found a tool when I can't get that done because they don't have 24-hour, cooking for you. They don't grill for you all day long. They close that up. So we have an air fryer, and that works for me very fantastically. Actually, it cooks things in about 20 minutes. So there are ways around. There's not enough time in the day.
Right.
This is what it taught me. I wrestle. I practice my craft 2 to 3 times at least a week for 3 hours straight.
Right.
And what those consist of are WWE blow-up drills, wrestling matches, helping out with green students. And this is all, like, for example, my day structure goes as this. I work out Monday, Tuesday. I will rest with wrestling on Wednesday.
You rest with wrestling. That's your rest day. Yeah.
That's a rest day.
Right.
Yeah, I call it an active rest day.
Right. I should say so.
Yeah, it's an active rest day. And then Thursday, Friday, I'm back at it. Saturday is a wrestling show, and Sunday is my only actual rest day.
Right.
Tuesday is my worst day, because that is the day I have to get in, not just working out, but I have to get wrestling in as well. So just to give you a rundown of how that goes is that I get out of work, fly over to the gym, get as much of a workout as I possibly can, and then I fly over to Woodstock, which is very, I don't know how it's, for Illinois, it's very far for people who live there. It's about a 45-minute drive from where my gym is.
Right.
And I wrestle there. So I am stacked on Tuesday. Tuesday is the worst day of my week because it is the most demanding of me.
So the workouts that you do at the gym, are they bodybuilding workouts? Are they a combination of the things that we do, some of the techniques that I use? Do you make sure that you hit like a bodybuilding type style workout these days, or are you doing compound movements in order to lift guys who weigh 250 pounds, 300 pounds? What's your brand of training right now? What's that like?
Okay, so I have a 9-week structure. I feel that if you do something for more than 9 to 10 weeks, I feel like you're going to get too accustomed to what you're doing, and then you're going to have a lot more of a difficult time trying to get. I like the feel of it. I always call it feeling the bite, feeling the burn, is what a lot of people say. I say feel the bite. You're going to have a lot more of a difficult time feeling the bite in your workouts. I used to like feeling sore, but I like feeling exhausted so much more than sore. Like I exhausted the that I'm working out, because if you're sore, it's going to be hard to work out that body part again until next week.
Right.
And we know that it's recovered within a few days
right.
of working it out. So 9 weeks. Currently, it is focusing on each body part individually.
Right.
But in, I want to say about 2 weeks, that's going to change. It's going to go back to compound movements. But what I will say is this, is it doesn't matter if I'm focusing on strength or if I'm focusing on aesthetics of a muscle. It really doesn't matter to me, because I don't care how strong someone thinks they are. If their form is dog crap,
yep,
then they're not really strong. So
I know what you mean. It's like gaming the weights up. It's like gaming the weights up rather than moving the weights up with the muscles.
It's ego lifting. I will always say this too. There was a bodybuilder, Kai Green, says it the best. I will never be a weightlifter. My grandfather made a joke once. He said, "I'm a weightlifter too." When I first started working out, he goes,
right.
I'm like, "Are you really?" And he's like, "Yeah." You see that weight over there? I'm like, "Yeah." You gonna lift it? He says, "Yeah, wait." And I'm like, so I will never be one of those. I will be a athletic bodybuilder type of guy,
right.
Always through and through. But to do that, I want to make sure that I'm feeling everything correctly. I need to feel it where it should be, and judging from a guy like myself, like I've had injury after injury, minor ones, some that
were the injuries from wrestling, or were the injuries from bodybuilding, or a combination of the two, or lifting, or just the grind of what you put yourself through?
Somewhat. There's a point where I'm bringing myself to that point a little bit again, because ironically I'm also training for a boxing fight, where I've literally beaten the crap out of myself training, but I was working out wrong. It was before I started watching those videos. It was when I first started working out. And I was working at UPS for a while, and, being an ego-lifting guy, I just wanted to take packages and just, I can lift it, and, not know how to lift correctly, and I injured my shoulder. That was the most devastating injury to me. I had a torn labrum in my left shoulder that took me out for 8 months while I was wrestling and working out. I've also had broken finger, broken wrist. I've had MRSA, which that's not fun.
Right.
What else have I had? I've had a concussion, one's grade 1 concussion, which is a baby one, the equivalent of what they call getting your bell rung. I've had a lot of that done to me already in the past 7 years, but thankfully, knock on wood, I haven't had an injury in a really long time.
Knock on wood, man.
I just did. Trust me, I did. And that's primarily because I started sitting back and I took into account, like, even if I'm going for strength, I want to make sure I'm feeling the muscle that I'm supposed to be working out.
Right.
For example, people that use bench press.
Yep.
It's like you said in your video too. 9 years ago, 9 or 10 years ago, you said it. It's the granddaddy of all chest exercises, right?
Yeah.
It's the granddaddy of all chest exercises. Someone's listening.
You definitely are paying attention. I'll tell you that.
The granddaddy of all chest exercises. Well, some people will sit there, especially new lifters, they will sit there and they'll arch their back so much that they're not even using their chest. Or they won't arch their back at all.
Yeah,
and
right.
they'll use more their shoulder, because now, instead of bringing their elbows down at, let's say, a 45-degree angle, they're going to bring it out at about a 90-degree angle.
Yep.
And that's not chest, that's shoulders. That's shoulders and outer pec. Well, outer pec is your rotator cuff. I'm not trying to build up a rotator cuff. I'm trying to build up a chest muscle.
Mm-hmm. Right. Right. So you've definitely done your homework, man. I mean, listen, I think one of the reasons you and I hit it off is because you have respect for the technique of things, not only the technique of bodybuilding, but you have obviously technique and respect for the which I think is an art as well. You have respect for the technique and art of wrestling, which is why I am 1,000,000% behind you, and I want to do as much for you as possible. And look, your story, right, in my opinion, is beginning to get exciting. Real quick, you're at the top. this Premier Professional Wrestling League. You are at the top of this league right now, correct? Are you the champion of that league at this point?
Correct. I am the champion of this of Premier Professional Wrestling.
And the next step for you is what? And how could we support you in your climb so that we can say we knew you when? What is the next step for you? And how can my people who are following you and following this story and everything from the story of not paying the college tuition and going to wrestling, how can we support you? What's the next step for you? And what can we do as a community for you?
Well, the next step for me is building a following that makes me undeniable with World Wrestling Entertainment, because that is one of the last few things they told me in their emails to me.
It's to build up a social, right? And
building up a following, yeah.
Build up a following. So people can follow you at I am Vinicus. I am Vinicus, right? Matt Vine, yeah. I am. So guys, just so you know, everybody listening, it's IAM Vine, VINEACUS. I am Vinicus. Do me a favor, please follow my friend Matt Vine, and let's start supporting him in this way, because I'm telling you guys, this guy's got the goods, so that we can all enjoy this and be a part of this, and say we knew him when, and wear a Matt Vine t-shirt and know we contributed to this guy, his success and what his ultimate dream is. And I just want everybody to know out there that we'll do the same for you. Anybody that's out there pursuing a dream, we are behind you 100%. You can't give up. It's seven years he's been at this, grinding it out. You heard the schedule, the regular job, get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, go to your regular job, run to the gym, work out, and then do your wrestling workout, trying to figure out shortcuts so that people can prepare food for you just to save the time so that you can get to what you have to do. That's what we all have to do. I do the same type of stuff. I'll find a grocery store next to my house. I'll find somebody to prepare the food, or a restaurant that prepares exactly the way I like it. I'll buy and cook things the night in advance. I'll Tupperware things up. If I have a meeting out of town, I start Tupperwaring that stuff up. So the dream, it can be yours, but there's no time off. You just got to go. You got to go with it, and we're behind you. And so the next step is WWE. We've got to build a following, and that's what you deserve, my man. That's what you deserve.
I hope so. I definitely hope so.
So quick question: do you have a girlfriend? Are you married? Like, even though I see you, on social and stuff like that, do you have somebody, behind you, or is this all on your own, or how's that? I know people are going to ask anyway when they see your pictures. I do have a girlfriend right now. She is very supportive. Surprisingly, she puts up with quite a lot, and that's a key to success. I've had, in this 7-year journey, I've had girlfriends who weren't supportive in the end. Like, they started off that way because everybody is attracted to someone who has a dream. That's another reason to have a dream, is when you push yourself towards a higher purpose. And this whole Vinicus thing, it stems that I found out that recently I'm ancestral to the gladiators of Rome. So right. I put this little Spartacus gimmick. Oh, that's awesome. I'm going to show definitely a picture with that Spartacus helmet. You could have been in the movie 300, Lead 'em the Charge.
Move over, Gerard Butler. But there's a quote from the series, actually, and it says that there's a man or a woman is never too weak or too wounded to fight for a cause, as long as the cause is greater than their own life. And if we direct that to something, or redirect that, or link that to today, that just means that if something means something more to you, that's larger than life to you, you're never too weak or wounded to work towards that. And I'm going to translate to that cause is to a goal.
Right.
Goal equals cause in this case, and you're never too weak or too wounded when I see inspirational people on Instagram, people with cerebral palsy. I don't know if you saw that video.
Smiles Taylor?
Yeah,
Yeah, man. I was choked up all night last night looking at that guy. It's like there's nothing people can't do. It's just nothing.
Right.
Just nothing.
Right.
It's all out there. It's in your heart. It's amazing. Amazing
it really
kid.
Is.
Yep.
So to have a goal, to have someone who supports you with that makes it that much easier to put up with something like that. You got to realize that going into a dream, like you have to, especially in wrestling, you got to be okay with losing girlfriends or losing boyfriends. Because they might not support you in it. But if this is something that's true to you, you got to stick with it. When I learned that actually at a very young age with a story my grandfather told me about his best friend growing up. He went to be a lawyer, and he would tell me, he said, this friend of mine came up to me and a bunch of our other friends, and he said, listen, I'm going away to school for a while. I'm not going to be able to respond to you guys as much as I can. As a matter of fact, I probably won't be seeing you guys that much. If you guys still want to be friends with me after all is said and done, I would much appreciate it. But just understand that this is what it's got to be. Some people stayed and some people didn't. Because some people can support you with what you're doing and some people can't. But that guy that ended up becoming that lawyer was one of the best lawyers in the Chicagoland area. Unfortunately, it was a little bit before my time, and when my grandfather told me the story, I understood the story. I didn't listen to who the people were.
Right.
So I can't name names for you. But he knew what his goal was, and he wouldn't let anything stop it. And the only people that he let in his life were the ones that would support him.
Yep, exactly. Exactly. He's very valuable, man. I appreciate that, sharing that with my audience, and because it's something that I say all the time. I mean, just get rid of those things in your life. You just got to, and the people who love you and the people who believe in you will stick around. And that's don't try to cling on to the people who are not supporting you, because there's plenty of people who do that. They're fighting with their own family and their own friends and things like that. It's just sad, and I'm very happy for you that you have someone behind you. I'm behind you, and I'm gonna I'll make sure that all your social and how people can find out about your wrestling is in the description box when we do this this video and the pictures. I've got to go find 40 minutes worth of pictures, by the way, of you right now. So anyway.
Oh my God.
so listen. I hope I really appreciate you taking the time tonight. Thank you very much. And I look forward to catching up and seeing amazing things from you as usual, man.
Me too. I can't wait to finally get there. I'm coming out. I can't wait to come out to New York and actually put some names to some faces.
Yeah, man.
What would really be cool, and I hope that everybody would understand this, is that nothing would be greater, because I saw your brother and you have a workout video, but I want to get in on a workout video with you too.
We're going to have to do that. We're going to have to find a gym that can hold all that weight, though. We'll find it.
No way, man. No way. You'll see me in the corner with 135 pounds on a bench press. That's it.
All right. Beautiful. Beautiful. Okay, man. Listen, enjoy your night. Thanks so much for catching up with me and my community, and we're behind you.
All right. Peace, love, muscles.
Peace, love, and muscles, my man. Take care.